A very good day to Dr. Rohila. Today, myself, Jivalakshmi Anandadas, metric number S70069. So today I'm the representative for my group members to present the tax calculation for both companies, which is Stylo Garments Sdn Bhd and then Auto Prime Assembly Sdn Bhd. So first, let's look at the statement of financial position. So this is the balance sheet for both of the companies. So for Stylo Garments Sdn Bhd, the balance sheet is equal to 5.2 million, and then for Auto Prime Assembly Sdn Bhd, it's 20 million. Okay, next let's move on to the statement of profit or loss. So for statement of profit or loss, we use the same method, which is revenue minus with the expenses. We get the net profit before tax for Stylo Garments Sdn Bhd is 1.2 million, and then for Auto Prime is 3 million. And then we used to calculate the depreciation for both of the companies. So we use the cost of estimation for each of the companies. So first, for Stylo Garments Sdn Bhd, the cost of estimation for factory, sewing machine, embroidery and cutting equipment, delivery vans. So this is the cost estimation. And then we use the initial allowance. Initial allowance we use 20%, and then annual allowance we use 14%. Okay, as we studied in Taxation 1, so the initial allowance percentage and the annual allowance percentage, we follow the proper percentage of the tax. So as you see, this is the annual allowances and the initial allowances. Initial allowances we only use at the beginning when we bought something new. Annual allowances is we have to deduct every year. Okay. Next, for Auto Prime Assembly Sdn Bhd, so the asset type we selected is robotic arms, welding and conveyor equipment, and then testing tracks. Okay, in this Excel, so we have shown all the calculations. So we have inserted the cost of estimation, initial allowances and the annual allowances. So this is the graph we have made. And then next, for IBA, which stands for Industrial Building Allowances. Industrial Building Allowances is a tax deduction given to companies that construct or purchase industrial buildings used for approved purposes. For example, like manufacturing. So for both of these companies, as we calculated here, we use the rate for initial allowance is 10%, and then for annual allowance we use 3%, and then we use the 75% rule to determine whether can apply for IBA or not. Which means if a company which is industrial building use more than 75% of the building directly for industrial purpose, then it's qualified for IBA. So right here we have calculated for Stylo Fit Garments Sdn Bhd, we used 75.76%. So it's more than 75%, so it's qualified under IBA. And then we use the 10% rules. 10% rules, which is if a specific non-industrial section like canteen, prayer room, office takes up more than 10% of the total floor space or cost, it's not considered a qualifying building expenditure. Okay, so based on this, since it's more than 10%, so it's not qualified under the qualifying building expenditure. Okay, next, for Auto Prime Assembly Sdn Bhd, the same thing here. We use the initial allowance 10%, annual allowance 3%, and then we use the 75% formula. Auto assembly plants typically use the majority of the buildings for manufacturing, so it's eligible under 75% rule. Okay, and then for 10%, based on the 10% rule, it's exceeding more than 10%, so it's not counted under qualifying building expenditure. Okay, so I want to clarify here, under industrial building allowances, we use the 75% rules and 10% rules. And then next is withholding tax. Withholding tax, so we have created our own scenarios, which is the additional informations for Stylo Government and Auto Prime. So this is the additional information that we have inserted. Then we have adjusted the profit or loss. So the net profit before tax for Stylo Government is 1.2 million, and then for Auto Prime Assembly Sdn Bhd is 3 million. Okay, so this is the created scenario for our for both of the companies. Okay, and then last is computation of tax payable for year of assessment 2025 for both Stylo Fit Garment Sdn Bhd and Auto Prime Assembly Sdn Bhd. So as usual, we counted the net profit before this. So we have shown the calculation clearly at here from where we have inserted the net profit, and then the deposit, depreciation, overseas, fines and penalties, major renovation, everything we have calculated. So the total corporate tax payable is 1,332,600 for Stylo Garments Sdn Bhd, and then the computation tax payable for Auto Prime Assembly Sdn Bhd is 2.99 million. So that's all. This is the total tax calculation for both of the companies. Thank you.